Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is we give an outlet to mental and emotional and psychological issues, spiritual issues that need a new viewpoint. A lot of the viewpoints here are in line with psychology and new thought and a whole bunch of different things. If there's an audio you'd like to hear, please feel free to comment below. We'll see what we can do about getting that done for you. So, anyway, there's about 6 or 7 things we're going to talk about here. Today's audio, we're going to talk about obsessive people or being in an obsessive relationship. What are the signs? So, I deal with this a lot as a relationship coach. Unfortunately, the more I coach folks, and I'm in year 13 now. The more I coach folks, the more I see a tendency towards obsessive relationships, and unfortunately, too, it's not just a certain age group. It's not a certain race. There aren't qualifiers to it. It can happen anywhere. Now, it happens certainly more with certain situations. Young people, especially between the ages of 18 and 25, people that have been through severe trauma and abuse on both sides. In other words, abusers will be obsessive, or people who have been abused tend to attract obsessive partners, so that's something to think about. So, but anyway, there's about 6 or 7 things I want to go over here today. If one of these is affecting you, please reach out for assistance. I do coach people through finding healthy relationship boundaries, so if that's you, please reach out at PO Perception on Twitter or in the YouTube message box. So one of the key things is the person doesn't want you to have your own autonomy or your own life. These are individuals who will try to get you to spend all your time with them, who will not encourage you to maintain independent friendships. They won't encourage you to seek out family relationships. They won't encourage you to meet new people, because they basically want to smother you with love. That's a sign of obsession. Smothering is a sign of insecurity, and it's a sign of, usually, it's a sign that, like, they're afraid you're bailing out. I've dealt with a couple of relationships like this myself, partners who are just so incapable of trust that they will smother you and question everything you do. Not wanting me to expand business, not wanting me to expand the nature of who I was, and it's hard because you love the person, or you think you are falling in love with a person, and then you don't want to hurt them, so you acquiesce, and before you know it, you've lost yourself. Comment below if this has ever happened to you. And then the second thing is the relationship becomes about the ego of the other individual. What that means is that how it makes them feel, what it makes them think, the things that make them uncomfortable, the triggers they have. The relationship becomes very one-sided. Something like, don't go out because you'll cheat on me. That's a very common one. Don't leave because you'll cheat. Don't leave because you'll forget about me. Now, there's a difference between, hey, I'd like to hang out with you, I'm lonely, and loneliness is also a key trigger for folks who have been abused, getting attracted to obsessive quality people. If you've been abused, you're more likely to lap up any positive reinforcement. So when someone love bombs you and gives you a lot very quickly, your thought is, hey, I finally found someone who wants me. I finally found someone who gets me. And then it becomes, wait, they want me all the time. And it becomes overwhelming. It becomes smothering, which is the next sign on the list. Dealing with the person makes you tired. Like, at the end of the day, you're just trying to find space to get away. Maybe you're going deeper into music. Maybe you're journaling more because you just need a place to put your emotions down. Maybe you're reaching out to former friends and you're doing it in secret because you don't want them to find out. Maybe you're engaging in unhealthy behavior, drinking, cutting, other things. But what it does is dealing with this person makes you so emotionally exhausted and tired that you begin to engage in negative behavior just to have an outlet to feel like you can control something about what's going on in your life. These individuals will often make you think that the relationship you have is perfect. You're my soulmate. You're my twin flame. You're the perfect person for me. I couldn't live without you. All of these qualifiers, which, for the record, for folks that believe in spirituality, the whole soulmate, twin flame concept, honestly, that's been so mismarketed and so perverted. Disney's contributed to that. Other movie producers have contributed to that. That it's not healthy to look at someone as being that in a lot of cases because we idealize what a person is or could be or might be or should be, and then we're not actually looking at the relationship. We're looking to make that person fit into a box. Most of the whole labeling of relationship, soulmate, twin flame, other half, better half, most of it these days is complete marketing BS to get you to engage. I mean, how many dating sites have you seen? Find the one or find your soulmate. It's marketing. It's not based in something that's oftentimes healthy or balanced or real. And so, if someone is saying you're the perfect person for me constantly, no, I mean, it's nice and romantic to say, I couldn't imagine being without you. That's great if that's a part of the conversation, if that's 3 to 5% of the conversation. But if they're saying it every day, if they're saying it every week, if they're saying it all the time, and they're not saying anything else of substance, then chances are there's a problem there. Now, the other thing is guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is a huge sign that you're dealing with someone who's obsessed. Now, this will go something like, and I can remember this. I had a relationship one time, and I shared just to give you an example of what guilt tripping looks like. I was dealing with a person who, very new relationship, and I had an experience where I'd lost lights, and this is back in the time before cell phones became, I mean, now everybody has them, but back then you were 50-50. Some people had them, some people didn't. And because I was home most of the time working, I didn't have a cell phone because I just would go out with somebody who did. Anyway, had a thunderstorm, was in a relationship, and lost power and lost phone and internet service for like 8 hours. Anyhow, I came back to something like the person saying they tried to call me something like 120 times in 6 hours, how I didn't care about them, how I was heartless, how I wanted to be with somebody else, how I must have been cheating. And this is someone I'd been dating for a couple of months. And it was like, whoa, no. Over the top red flag. But they were guilt tripping me for not being available. And if you're guilt tripped for not answering a text message, if you're guilt tripped for choosing to go and visit friends or family, if you're guilt tripped for... I've seen people guilt tripping somebody for... as a matter of fact, I have a client, and if you're listening, I'm using this as an example without an identifier, but I have a client who has a show they like to binge watch, and on Netflix or Hulu or one of the, sites or whatever, and their partner doesn't like the show. And literally their partner took the sign that they took 3 hours to watch a show as a sign that they weren't interested in the relationship anymore. And I'm just like, whoa, that's so unhealthy. Let's work on this a little bit. Because it happens. So another thing, and there's two more things I want to cover here. One is they're obsessed with what other people think of your relationship. They're obsessed with other people thinking you have the perfect relationship. Here's the thing. A healthy relationship is between two people, not two people and their friends, not two people and their family, not two people and even potential stepchildren. It's between two people. Now, other people can be factored into the decision, especially minor children. But at the end of the day, the relationship, the ability to relate, exists between the two people that have decided to be in a committed connection. And when you the more people you bring into a relationship and what they think into the relationship, the more muddied it's going to be because people carry their baggage into, oh, well, I don't have a relationship like that, so it can't be real. Or relationships like that don't exist. Or this is, you should leave this person and go date someone that I choose for you instead. These are unhealthy and dangerous things. So, um, um, and then the last one is what I call the rapid fire cycle, which usually comes from borderline personality disorder or post traumatic stress disorder, but usually trauma based disorders bring this about. And obsessive relationship people often have trauma based issues. And it's what's known as the PTSD cycle, which is fear and claustrophobia. They're very, very scared, so they'll lash out at you, and then they'll show anger and rage. How dare you do ABC? And then they'll go through regret and remorse. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to get that out of hand. However, the core behavior that caused this never truly changes. So what you have is a repetitive negative cycle: fear and claustrophobia, anger and rage, regret and remorse, over and over and over again. And if you're dealing with that, you're dealing with someone with a trauma-based challenge. You're also dealing with somebody who may be obsessive because they're living through their trauma and not an actual reality. So being in a relationship with them would be difficult. So, have you dealt with an obsessive person before? As someone who's had a couple of stalkers in my life, it's a trauma is something, and obsession is something to take seriously. So, if you have dealt with this, please feel free to reach out and get help. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.